Hey, you guys, it's Coco Nation for Change. I'm bringing it on today, Miss Angie Lehner. And Miss Angie, am I pronouncing that correctly?
No, ma'am, but it's okay. It's Lanier.
Lanier. It's Lanier. Sorry about the puppies in the background. We got about 2-week-old pit bulls, and they have realized they have a growl now. But ladies and gentlemen, I come on here today because a situation has been brought to me, and it's not just a situation; it's a life. It's life or death, basically, at this point. Miss Angie's son has been wrongfully convicted. Well, is being wrongfully and unjustly accused of something that the person that has done the murder has confessed to. There's no evidence to it that he's literally the man that even confessed to these murders. Is that correct? He even did it through his plea. He was under the what can I say? He was in a direction that actually, whenever he did his plea, that your son would be let go. Correct?
Yes, that's correct.
I know that everybody don't know a lot of that what's going on for this. Miss Angie's from Georgia, and her son is Matthew Baker. Is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
And Matthew was basically at a bonfire with some friends and stuff like that. And he went to the party just like what anybody else would. He come on home, and then they went on back, right?
Yes, ma'am. They only went back. Well, they were asked to leave because somebody there at the party didn't like one of the people that was with them. They didn't like Matthew because Matthew didn't know anybody there except for Kosky's sister. And okay. They were only there for like 15 minutes, and then they left and came back here. The only reason why they went back there was because Kosky was actually texting Brooke, which is one of the other girls that was originally arrested only for obstruction, but he was texting her and was making it seem like that him and his sister were getting jumped by 6 people. And he just said, basically, hearsay, whatever. They were just needing to get away from the situation. They didn't really want it to escalate or anything like that. That's the only reason why they even went back over there to pick him up.
Okay. Well, now your son's being charged. If I'm not mistaken, they've even gotten it on the table of death row for your son. And that's just that's
the charges. Let me tell you what the charges are, and this is how corrupt the system is. So originally, when he was arrested, he was charged with 4 counts of malice murder, 4 counts of felony murder, 4 counts of aggravated assault, and 1 count of firearm during the commission of a felony. Due to my first podcast that I did with Demita, and when they heard that, and that was my first initial time speaking out about his case, we had a court appearance 2 weeks after that. And before that court appearance, I got a letter in the mail, and they doubled his charges to now he has 30. So now he has 4 counts, and only because he wouldn't sign a plea.
Right.
And he has, so all those charges I just named, he has those, except for, instead of them having 4 felony murders, they've added 12 felony murders, 2 robbery charges, and 4 counts of commission of a firearm during a felony.
Oh my God! Now, how can they do that? I mean, I know you're probably asking the same question, but I know a lot of people and a lot of the viewers are going to be like, "How can they absolutely go from now what the original was to doubling it? That'll make no sense, does it?" So it feels like to me like your son's getting railroaded, isn't he?
Very much so. And on top of that, when he first got arrested, Jacob had the same charges, except for he had a couple of extra charges than my son. And when he did his plea, those were still his charges. And when they everybody, some people say it's not a race issue. Some people say it is. A lot of people say it is. And I'm saying it is because if anybody, and I always speak this because I want people only because I am his mother. And so people always think, a lot of people not going to listen to you because you're his mother. They're going to think you're just trying to take up for him, or you're trying to protect your baby, blah, blah, blah. No, I speak facts. So when I come, I'm coming with facts. I'm not lying about nothing. I'm not sugarcoating nothing. I'm coming. You can ask anybody about my personality. I'm a 100% person. Keep it real all the way around. A lot of things that some people are thinking, I speak it. So if anybody that's listening now wants to know what's going on, everything is on YouTube. And if it's not on YouTube, the channels that y'all can look up these things is Channel 2 News here in Georgia, Channel Fox 5 Atlanta, Channel 11 News. You can Henry Herald, AJC, any of those websites, you can go on there and you can research this whole case. You can see yourself what the media has put out there. There's even clippings from Jacob's preliminary hearing where the detective was saying that Jacob named Matthew as his accomplice, and Jacob had an outburst in court that, no, I never said that. And that was when at his, mental state or whatever that he was in at that time. And even still to this day now, and him being locked up, he still is proclaiming my son's innocence from day one to now. He's proclaiming his innocence.
Because I know that when I've read through here, saying that no evidence has even been presented to indicate that fingerprints or gunpowder residue connecting Baker to a firearm. And so Baker also said that he did not have his own cellular device, as one of the claims that they're sitting there saying, because you had his cell phone, so no one could have communicated with him. That you was actually communicating with him and two of the young ladies that was actually with them that night.
Yes, he didn't have a phone. He didn't have a phone at all. Period. Like he had a phone one time when he was 10, and that was the last time he had a phone. I didn't have no phone. I mean, I had my personal phone, but I didn't have no phone of his. He didn't have a phone. He said he didn't want one. He didn't have a cell phone at all.
And I know that you had sat there and you had stated about Koski. Is that Jacob?
Yes. Yeah. Now there's another boy that was arrested, and his name is Jacob too, but his name is Jacob Williams. We actually call him Phil whenever I'm discussing the case. That's a nickname that Matthew came up with him because he said that he just looks like Phil.
I do know that I see here that Miss Demita Bishop, she's with FAIR. She's been a blessing in this situation, hasn't she? I want to give recognition where recognition is due. I know Miss Demita. I know she reached out to me and told me about the case and the petition, and she'd asked me if I would broadcast it and put it out on I said I'll put it on everything I got, every platform that I know of, and get it to whoever's ear that will hear it, just to get this young man some justice and get him the proper help that he needs. And Miss Demita, she's a beast now with it. I mean, she's going in all the way, and she's going to come correct. And it's an honor and privilege to know her. But she was telling me something, and it's also stated that Jacob, the one that actually pled to all of this, that he reached out through via JPay, correct? And even then, he sits there and states that, I think I have it in here just somewhere, just one second, that he even reached out to her and even told her that
he's told her a lot of stuff. He told her that I can't read word for word right now because I have them on my phone. She screenshot them to me, but he has told her that Matthew didn't have anything to do with it. He told her that Matthew's fingerprints are not on anything in that house. Matthew never had a gun. And the most important thing was that he said to her, two important things that he said to her. He said, how could Matthew know what I was going to do? Because I didn't even know what I was going to do. And then said that Matthew was a victim himself.
That's right. I have it here. It said that he had stated that I had it just right there. He said, I have nothing to lose or gain from Baker getting released from prison. I just want to do the right thing. This said Jacob to Bishop via JPay. Koski also confessed again to being responsible for the events on October 27th, and specifically how Baker wasn't involved. He stated that the report did not trace any fingerprints on the gun or gunpowder on Baker. Um, it says that I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. Um, and Baker has your son has refused to plead guilty even after they've sit there and put these additional charges on him. Correct?
That is correct.
I mean, I'm it's mind blowing that in Georgia, and this is a small town, correct, or kind of semi small town.
Yeah, we're a pretty rural city. It's probably I say probably about 25 to 30,000 people here in town. But where the community we live in is it's a large community, but it's a small community, so everybody kind of knows everything. If they don't, the social media makes them know everything.
Now, and
word gets around fast here.
Right. That's what I was saying. Are y'all trying to get a change of venue?
Yes, I have asked that several times by his attorney. And this is another thing that anybody listen, I am open for ideas of fundraisers, way to raise money. Even if somebody can make phone calls for me to different criminal attorneys, but they have to be death penalty qualified, that may want to take this case to be pro bono, that somebody that may want the publicity of this case, because I'm trying to get this to go national as I can.
Right.
Because I don't really feel that his attorneys are trying to fight for him like they need to be, because from what I gather, I wasn't able to be in court this last time, but I did watch the live stream from YouTube, which is anybody can go through YouTube and see it. Is they have to go on Henry County Superior Court, I think it is. I'll send you the link to it, and if you have something posted up on stuff, and they can see the court itself. But his attorneys asked to suppress his statement and any evidence against him, which suppressing any evidence against him actually proves his innocence. Plus, his statement proves his innocence, because basically on his statement, when he discussed with the police, they were asking them, the general questions or whatever, and he was telling them that to sum up everything, basically the reason for everything that he did was because he felt threatened that he was going to be killed.
Do what?
He thought that he did. Okay, so because it's not fresh on my mind right now, and I don't like to repeat certain things unless I hear it word for word. But the thing was, one of the detectives asked him. He said, "I know." He said, "I know you know what happened. Blah blah this and or whatever." And then, so my son was telling him that he would, when he got there, he went down to the house to see where Jacob was at. And so the detective asked him, he said, what did you think you were going there for? And he said, well, because I thought that somebody was trying to fight. And then, so here in Georgia, it's accessory law. So to that there, my son never said he was going to fight anybody. He just said that he thought that somebody was going to fight. It wasn't never him putting himself in a position where he was going to actually fight somebody. So that's one thing you can't get him on. The second thing was, he said that the detective asked him who entered the house first. He said Koski did. And then he said, well, did Koski open the door? Did somebody open the door for him? And he said, I don't know. I couldn't tell. I just know the door opened. So that's number two. You can't get him for robbery because he was asked to come back to the house. So and nothing was stolen out of the house. There's no motive of anything. So he didn't plot anything. And they're trying to make it seem like that the way the state is trying to make it seem like Koski was incompetent to be able to make these choices. So because he pled insanity, they got to blame it on the black kid and make it seem like the black kid is the one that put all this shit together. And he's the one that planned everything out and all this other stuff. And he's the one that told Koski to do what he did. But there again, Koski's statement, he says, how can he know what I did if I don't even know what I was going to do? Right. So if he didn't even know he was going to do it, my son then is not the one that told him to do anything. Koski chose to do that because my son said when Koski entered the house, he just opened fire and my son froze. And then
Right.
he says that he turned, pointed the gun at him, told him that if he said anything, he should kill him too. And then they're trying to say that there's a boy that was hiding under the bed. Well, initially, the boy was supposed to be hiding under the bed. Then later on, and that's what he said on national TV on one of the news clippings. He said he was under the bed and he saw somebody come down the hall, look in the room to the left, right room he was in, and then left. So it was like really quick. Then he come back and the detective said in an interview that which was on TV, it was one of Matthew's preliminary hearings. He said that the boy was laying on top of the bed and he was looking through a hole in the cover. Well, if he was looking through the hole in the covers, how could he even see anything? And the fact that most of the time, and if it was that big of a deal, if he's really telling the truth, anybody can ask you, what is the first thing that you do when you if you're going to go look for something under the bed? You're going to put your hand on the bed to brace yourself so you can bend down to be able to get whatever you got to get under the bed. So obviously your body is laying on top of the covers and you're there laying on the bed. Somebody's going to see you. Obviously they're going to want to kill you. So they're trying to place it that like my son is the one that walked through the house and made sure wasn't nobody in there. Okay, if he did do that, then he was only doing that because he was instructed to by Koski, and Koski had a gun. So if somebody's pointing a gun at me, I'm gonna do whatever the fuck they ask me to do.
Right. And I do have it in Koski's own words where he stated multiple times where he said that I told when Baker came, and this is his words verbatim, I called Brooke Knight to come pick me up and told her to park down the street because some people at the party didn't like her. And I told her to tell Baker to come down the road to get me when they arrived. When Baker came, I told him I had to get my sister because she was in danger. I never told Matthew I was going to kill anyone. I just snapped. It goes on further to sit there and state that later on down the road, that's just him, and you can see all this on this clip. It's be posted to my Facebook page. It should be already there. You can click on it, you can hit the article, and you can see all this that I'm actually going to be reading off. But Koski was indicted on 4 counts of malice murder, 8 counts of felony murder, 4 counts of aggravated assault, 1 count of possession of a firearm during a commission of a felony, 1 count of possession of a firearm by a convicted felon, and 1 count of theft. The state also served the death penalty. Koski's sentence took place in 2019. And he pled guilty, but mentally ill, allowing him to negotiate out the death penalty and serve 4 consecutive life sentences instead. In Koski's plea deal, he requested the release of Baker, as he argued he had nothing to do with the incident. Since then, Koski has spent the past 5 years in prison. And this is the man that actually did this. This is the young boy that we're talking about, Jacob. Jacob's the one that actually done this. He's still sitting in prison. He's been there 5 years and sits there and says for the past 5 years, still pleading for Baker's release. So he said out of his mouth, Jacob's mouth, I wrote countless letters to the judges in our case, public defenders, capital defenders, Fox 5 News, clerk of the court, and the DA stated Matthew was not guilty and was in fact a victim in my case. I was under the impression whenever I took my plea that Baker was going to be set free. That's exactly his word.
Absolutely.
So, I mean,
and at the end of the day, it's a lot of sad things going on with this whole situation. And the main thing is what really, not only are you portraying my son, have slandered his name, making most of the emphasis on him that he provided the gun, he was his accomplice, he was this, he was that. You bash the black kid to no end, to that if, once he does get out, hopefully that the truth and all this right here coming out will show people that he is. And of course, you're still going to have that racist person that's going to believe, oh, he just said this, that, and other, whatever. But at the end of the day, the sad part is that the DA and these attorneys don't give a fuck about giving these victims' families the truth of what happened to their kids. And the fact that you're doing Jacob wrong too, because the whole system, and I'm not trying to defend him because of who he is or whatever. It's fact. It's truth. It's truth. This boy has been failed by the system since he was a baby. His plea hearing is on channel 11 and it's on YouTube. So anybody can go back and look at it too. They'll hear his attorneys get up there and have huge, like 4 or 5 boxes of medical records where his parents have been trying to get him help since he was 3 years old. And nobody ever knew what was wrong with this kid. Nobody ever knew anything that was wrong with him. They kept saying that he was schizophrenic, he was bipolar, he was Asperger's, he was this, that, and whatever. And 2 weeks prior to this, he was in a mental hospital. And they released him without giving him meds. And if they gave him meds, they didn't know if they worked correctly or not. And the thing about it is, his sister had posted a bunch of stuff on Facebook in reference to me, Matthew, and just all kinds of stuff or whatever. Just talking bad about us, trying to bash Matthew and all this other stuff. And I just kept thinking to myself, and I even told her, this kid has been mentally locked up all his whole entire life by just having his own mental issues. And him being in a rage of being a schizophrenic, not knowing what he really did, and then now being physically locked up in a prison system, and everybody knows how the prison system is not fair for him. Even if he did take 4 people's lives, he did not know really why he did it at the time. And he does not need to be in a prison. He needs to be in a mental institution, get help. So maybe one day he can halfway have some kind of decent life here on earth and to live like a normal human being instead of being treated like a dog his whole entire life. Not to mention, he is really trying to do what's right. He has told Demita several times, even in that statement, Fred, he wants to do what's right by God. And he wants Matthew to be free because he knows Matthew is innocent and had absolutely nothing to do with it.
You know, it takes a lot, especially being from a mother standpoint, that you actually sitting there and speaking out on Jacob's behalf too, because straight up, it doesn't seem like that he had not saying that we're making excuses for his actions, but who are we to sit there and cast full judgment whenever you don't know the whole realm of what it is? So it takes a lot. And I know from speaking now, because I'm a mom, and I know that I've had personal traumatic situations in my own life that have happened. For you to sit there and stand up and be the woman and the mother that you are, and actually going in and trying to get him the right and proper help that he needs, because you feel like he was railroaded as well, speaks volumes that you're not just biased. You're not just sitting here damning the one to praise the other one, or to, to get your son, off and then just leave the other one to just defend for himself. No, you're actually advocating for both of these young men. Is that correct? Is that what I just heard? Like, you really do think that young man that's sitting there behind bars that took this plea, that did this, he needs help as well. Is that not what you said?
Yeah, he does. And I mean, it breaks my heart because I listened to the 911 call where he called in, and he actually called 911 instead of going to the police station. And when you hear his 911 call in, I was listening to it with a friend of mine, and we both are really connected to Matthew a lot. Like, she's like his second mom. So anything that I heard, she heard too, with all this going on. When we listened to it, after it was over with, we both just looked at each other and started crying. And I was like, "Did you just hear what I heard?" She was like, "Yes." And I said, "That is so sad." I said, "He sounded like he was only like 6, 7 years old calling in, and he absolutely just acted like he did not know why the police wanted to talk to him." And so, and that I'm assuming that's part of his schizophrenia. And what people don't understand is mental health is real. Mental health issue is a real thing. Some people can say, "Oh, I don't know, you can't go through this much stuff in life to make you want to kill yourself." How do you know? Nobody can make you do anything that you don't want to do. How do you know if you don't know anybody or never been around anybody that has any kind of mental disorder or anything like that? You cannot say that how can they do this? Just because you're normal, don't mean the next person has to be just like you. Mental health illness is a real thing. The way this whole entire world goes about trying to help people with mental health illness is just jacked up itself. The justice system is jacked up. If I blame anybody, I blame the damn detective for not doing his job and just want to be biased and say, oh, we got to block the black person. You can't say that you admitted to a crime or the DA saying, okay, yeah, we're going to press charges on them because we want to make this the biggest story in Henry County to go down in decades, stuff like that. I don't care about any of that. What the whole entire justice system needs to do is get to the point of when you really have evidence and lock people up. Stop worrying about how much fucking money you're going to get for these people's lives that you're taking for no reason.
You're absolutely right. I know that we had spoken previously before we got on this interview, and me and you both feel about this death penalty. I know that I have a loved one that's been on death row since 1995 for something that he didn't even do. And then to have a child, especially these two individuals, one that needs help, that's seeking that the system has failed to now that this catastrophe has happened, and another child that's innocent of this, both of them being subject to death row. I know that I feel that there's no man, I believe wholeheartedly, that death penalty should be taken off the board altogether, because we are not God. That is murder in itself, that no man has the right to give or take life away, period. Our creator didn't do it like that. He didn't make us that way. He made us in his image. And I feel that very strongly about that fact, that there should be no death penalty. Because this right here is one in itself. There's plenty of cases that are out there just like this. And I want to tell you, thank you, Miss Angie, for coming on here. And I know that we'll have you on here later for a little bit more in detail, hopefully to get Miss Demita in here with us. But I know that it's hard right now. What I want to tell you is to stay fast, and you've got people that support you, and we're going to try to get your son's cases, as we're going to try to get it nationwide, to where people actually understand that this is a mom that really, truly, we know that this child did not do this, and he needs to be helped, and justice needs to be served. And if there's anything that can ever be done, this case is clear, open and shut. This child should never have been locked up, ever, period. Should never been detained, should never been interrogated, should never done anything. And I'm so sorry that the justice system in Henry County, is that not right? Henry County in Georgia?
Yeah.
And they should be, shame on them. They should be ashamed of themselves for sitting there and letting this go on this long, knowing the facts that they have and knowing that they have everything that they need, and still letting this young man sit behind bars. I'm so sorry for that. Is there anything that you want to say to the public, or if you could say anything to anybody, or even to Jacob's family, or even to your son if he was to see this?
Well, of course, my baby knows that I love him dearly, and I really just hope that I just had a conversation with him today, and he was like, Mom, I just wish you get your stuff together. And I was like, because he knows my life is chaos right now. And I told him, I said, boy, I said, you might think that I don't have my life together. I said, but I got my life together. I said, I just wish you could see how hard I'm trying to go for you right now. I was like, this is my main priority right now with this, and trying to help my daughter take care of my grandbaby. Like that's what I'm going hard for right now. He knows he knows this, because I've told him this, but I'll just put it out there. I will take my last breath trying to fight for him. And if I put my life in jeopardy trying to fight for him, then that's so be it. If somebody just hates me so much and they decide they want to kill me then, because I'm fighting for my baby and I don't care. Like, I'm not trying to wish my death earlier than what I'm already going, but at this time, this is not right. I gave birth to him. I should be able to choose when he lives or dies, because I'm the one that gave birth. Not only does God, but I'm not letting I'm not letting the government take him like this. I will fight until I'm crippled, walking on a cane. If I have to make every voice recording I can now while I'm young, I will do it, because I will continuously, if I'm in a wheelchair, I will wheel it down the hill somewhere screaming, free my baby, till the day that I die. For Jacob's family, the only thing I can say is I pray. And I just hope that somebody hears what's going on with him and they help him and get him in the right place that he needs to be in. I've never personally met Jacob myself, and I've never met anybody in his family. I have only had words with his sister via Facebook. But that's it. I've never met anybody, nobody else in his family. Well, yeah, no, well, sister in law. That's it. But I had to think. I was about to say sister, but it's his sister in law. But other than that, like really meeting anybody, no, I've never met anybody in his family. I don't have no desire to meet them, but I do want Jacob to get help. Like he needs to help. He really needs to be in a mental hospital somewhere getting help so he can have a normal life. I constantly play back up, Abby. I constantly pray for the victims' families. I was really glad that they was able to be in the courtroom and be able to hear my son's testimony. Just a couple of weeks ago, one of the victims' um, family members reached out to me via Facebook, and it was really kind of, which I think when they actually reached out to me was like a couple of months ago. And that was just by God, because my phone did some crazy stuff and I got the message. And I called them and I didn't know who it was, but they just said, contact me. I got something. I know something that might help you about your son. I'm like, okay. We talked about an hour on the phone. They never, the person believes that my son didn't have anything to do with it. They were trying to convince their loved one the same thing, and was saying that if they really had any evidence on my son, they would already send him to court. 5 years later, and you're just now trying to send him to court. He has been sitting in county jail for the last 5 years, which I'm okay with that, because the longer he sits, the longer people forget. So keep letting him sit there. And at least I know he's safe too. Life is not that great in jail, but it's way better than it is when it's in prison. It's totally different. Not a jail doesn't.
Go ahead.
And that's pretty much it. I mean, I can't. I can say that if anybody knows a good attorney, please let me know that may take a pro bono on this. Please spread this article. Lurk my page if you want to lurk it. I don't care. I don't accept friend requests unless I know who they are. So you have to send me a message and tell me why I should put you on my Facebook page. Everything that I do that has to do with my son, I do post it live. There is a change.org on there. I am asking everybody if they will please sign it, share it. If it asks for money, do not pay the money, because the money goes to change.org. It does not go to my son. So do not, just share it on your page. From yesterday.
You're muted, Miss Angie.
I'm sorry, you there?
Yeah, we're here.
Okay, I'm sorry. Somebody else created the change.org for me. I had started it, but I messed up. And I wasn't sure how to do it. So, and this lady's out of Texas. I don't know who she is. I never met her, but somehow or another, just like you, my son's case touched her heart, and she did it. So yesterday I posted it. We only had 400 and I think 50 something or 60 something signatures on it. And from me posting it yesterday and having people share it, we're up to over 1,000 something now, and we're just in 12 hours.
I mean, that's a blessing all in itself. And just keep on sharing, everybody. Again, this is about Matthew Baker and about him being sitting in county jail for the past 5 years. Has not been, they have not took him to trial. They have not done anything. He is an innocent young man in this. There has been multiple counts of this individual's innocence, and they just continue to railroad this young man. Get that petition. It'll be circulating on Nation for Change's website, Nation Studios. Also, you can look up Demita Bishop. You can look her up with FAIR. I'll give you this is Miss Demita right here. Love lady. She is with FAIR. And she's the one that seen the case, and she's the one that acknowledged me to it, and we're trying to do whatever we can to get this as much publicity as we possibly can. And again, this is Matthew right here. And they are trying to bring him on. They've actually doubled his counts. They went from a certain amount during this post. After they did their first live, they've actually doubled it to now he's got 30 different counts on something that he did not even do. And it's clearly stated that the individual that did do it is sit there for the past 5 years and still let it be known that Matthew had nothing to do with any of things. So I want to thank Miss Angie for coming on and sharing with us. And we will be back hopefully with Miss Demita Bishop later on at a different date to discuss it in further more detail and give you some updates. So Miss Angie, thank you, and we're praying for you.
Well, I want to say thank you for. Do you hear an echo?
Yep, you're on there twice.
All right, hang on.
Are you there?
Can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am. But you're still echoing.
Hang on 1 second.
It seems to me like you're logged in 2 different times. Are you there?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Perfect.
Okay, all right. I apologize. I want to say thank you to you for wanting to do this interview. Definitely thank you to Demita, because she really is a blessing to me. How I met her was just a conversation with some stranger at work that felt passionate enough to help me, and really felt just by what I spoke about my son. He knew somebody that knew Demita, and that's how we met. And definitely a big shout out to her and Kaylin. Kaylin is with Honeysuckle Magazine, and she is the first writer to take this story, and she's young, and she is the bomb.
Well, we especially want to give Kaylin a shout out and Miss Demita, but we also want to give you and Matthew a shout out as well. Matthew, if you can hear us, or if you get to by chance see this, or if you get word or wind of this, Nation for Change and FAIR and your mom, and Miss Kaylin, we're going in hard, and we're standing for you, and we're fighting for you. So don't let your head don't let your head fall, babe. Keep your head always up, and know that we're here, we're fighting for you, and we're never going to stop fighting for you until we get you home. And we will close for now, Miss Angie. And I hope to talk back with you soon, okay? You keep us updated, and we're going to keep on spreading it through every broadcast and every network that we got and every person that we know. God bless you, Miss Angie. And I think we've lost Miss Angie. But I just want to let you guys know that this happens every day, but thank God we have mamas that, that will fight for us. So check out my links on Facebook, on Nation for Change and Nation Studios. And then, of course, you can find it on my regular page, Jacoby Lachey Blast. Look on there, sign that petition. Let's get justice for Matthew. Let's get him home. This is something that's gone long enough that he needs to be home with his family. He didn't do this. He didn't have no part in it. And Henry County in Georgia, y'all should be ashamed of yourselves. But we will not back down, and we're going to get this young man home. So best thing for you to do is either let him go or let him go, because we're not coming any other way until he's coming home. So I want to say thank you for Miss Angie again, to Miss Demita Bishop with FAIR. And this is Coco with Nation for Change. We'll see you soon. Peace.